Real YouTubers are animation experts. This is inclusive of Wolfey VGC, who is a professional YouTuber who knows a lot about animations. Okay, so hello. First of all, hello. Second of all, so there I was, thinking about Sword and Shield, thinking about animations, and I thought it could be interesting to talk a little bit about some of the animations in Sword and Shield that I think are particularly good. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that not only am I not necessarily an expert when it comes to visual things, it's actually one of my weaker areas. So I just want to say that this is my opinion. These are my favorite animations in the game, and maybe even some of the ordering within the list will be a little off. So if you disagree, that's totally fine. Please don't flame me. I'm doing my best. This is just my personal preferences, and obviously some people are going to feel differently, whatever. Anyway, so Sword and Shield, obviously, before the game came out, people were really critical of the animations. I could make a top 10 worst animations if this video does well. Maybe I'll do that if people are interested. But I thought it could be cool because although, you know, there are some criticisms of certain animations, such as the move Tail Whip, which I know got a lot of flack, and also the worst animation in the game, which is, I think, Zacian turning around. Can't explain that one. But in general, there were a couple animations that really impressed me and really felt like a step up from previous Pokemon games. So I figured I would take a bit just to go through kind of some of the really good animations in Sword and Shield and talk about what I like about them and what I think they are. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. At number 10, we have Anchor Shot. I kind of wanted to put Anchor Shot higher. I think the signature move of Dumb Eyes. I don't think anything else gets it. And what I like about this animation is that it's a really nice cinematic. I feel like they have a lot of different, like the zoom in effect is really nice. The chain for some reason is really high quality. I don't know why the chain coming out of the anchor is like so nice, but I think it's a really cool animation, and I like it a lot, and it's a cool move as well. Anchor Shot is one of my favorite moves in terms of like concept, just because it's like so unique, and Dumb Eyes is a really unique Pokemon as well, so I really like Anchor Shot. There were a couple Pokemon signature moves on here that didn't make the list, but Anchor Shot, at least for me, does make the list. I feel like the reason it's not higher is just because I like the other ones better. There's not really another reason for it other than that, but yeah, like, it's not the perfect animation, but I do think it's really nice, and like the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Coming in at number 9, we have Pyro Ball. People might think Pyro Ball should be higher. I actually am not crazy about Pyro Ball. Effectively, Cinderace kicks this little ball of fire around and then kicks it at the opponent. It's definitely cool, but it's not the kind of thing where I would want to watch, like, you know, like after seeing it, like I feel like you've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times, which is maybe true. You could say about a couple other of these animations as well, but in general, it just doesn't feel that exciting to me. It feels like neat. It's like, oh, that's cool. They found a way to incorporate Cinderace. It like plays soccer, etc., etc. I'm also docking this one points because it's not the animation itself that is cool. Like, the animation itself is actually really lame. It's only when Cinderace uses it. We actually figured this out when we were testing like Copycat Pyro Ball, which we did in another video titled like animations Pokemon doesn't want you to see. So for that reason, I have Pyro Ball at number 9. It's still a cool animation. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, this is super neat. But in general, it's not my favorite. Coming in at number 8, we have Meteor Beam. Meteor Beam is a new tutor move actually introduced in the Isle of Armor DLC. It's a really powerful rock-type move that actually has a charge effect, and I believe raises your special attack as well. Effectively, the move animation is really cool. It's very similar to Hyper Beam, but with more of like a space theme. You have like this big laser fired out with all these different colors. I think it's really neat. It's an animation I could watch a ton and not get tired of. I think it's really great. At number 7, we have Grav Apple. We have Grav Apple. At number 7, we have Grav Apple. It's Flapple's signature move, and it's got a really neat animation. I'm just going to tell you right now that I have a weakness for animations that change the background color. So with Grav Apple, you're transported into like this alternate world, or, you know, the background changes or something. You're placed in like a genjutsu of sorts, and this apple falls from a tree. It's obviously an allusion to Isaac Newton, who discovered gravity and also apples, and yeah, I think it's a really neat animation overall. I love that the background changes. I love the zoom in on the apple. I just think overall it's really great. It's not a great move, but it does have a neat little effect, which is that it actually powers up in gravity. I think it's a unique effect in that. So it's a cool move in addition to the animation, but I think the animation is great. Coming in at number 6, we have Retaliate. Retaliate is a move introduced in, I believe, Generation 5, but I honestly have no idea. So Retaliate doubles in power from 70 base power to 140 base power if one of your Pokemon was KO'd in the last turn. For that reason, it's not super consistent, especially in doubles in VGC, because so many of the Pokemon run Protect, therefore it's very easy to block this kind of attack, especially if you know that it's coming, because it's effectively just a worse Return or Frustration, which were the kind of the go-to normal type moves for a while, unless you wanted more power, in which case you use Double Edge or something. So it didn't see a ton of play in competitive play, for the reason just that it isn't super consistent, and in general, it's relatively easy to dodge the power-up. However, the animation is really cool. It's very almost like samurai-esque, I don't know, very action movie-esque, where there's this freeze frame and the background changes, which we've already talked about me liking, and there's all these like slashes across the screen. I just think it's a great animation. I think it's beautiful. I think it's really well done, and it's one of my favorite animations in the game easily. Coming in at number 5, we have Skitter Smack, another new move introduced in the Isle of Armor DLC as one of the new tutor moves. It's a really interesting move. It's not super good. It's a 70 base power bug type move, bug not being the greatest type. And although it always lowers the target's special attack, it only has 90% accuracy, which normally you would expect for a move with 90 accuracy, you would expect the effect to be a bit better or the move to be a bit stronger. But I have it on this list because I absolutely love this animation. While a lot of the animations on this list that I chose were animations that I thought were cool or like really cinematic, Skitter Smack is really funny. The target will actually be just standing there, and there's these like dark, like the edges of the screen become like dark. And it like almost like a horror movie, and the user sneaks up behind the target and then like surprises them. And I just think it's super hilarious and really, really well done, and I just love the animation. I think it's so funny. So yeah, that's why it's such a high placement on the list. Coming in at number 4, we have Giga Impact, a move that doesn't see a ton of play in competitive play, similar to Retaliate. However, it is a powerful move. It's the strongest normal type move apart from like Explosion, as far as I'm aware. 150 base power move. That's the physical equivalent of Hyper Beam. This animation is both cool and funny. The user starts by being shrouded in like this green-yellow light, and then like basically throws its body into the opponent. When I watched this animation, I saw it used by Haxorus, and it like slides across the floor. Like it doesn't run, it doesn't like fly. It just like the model just moves into the opponent, and it's very, very funny. But it's still a very pretty animation as well. And I don't know, I think it's a nice blend between like it's funny and it's like it's very literal, like you're literally throwing your body into your opponent, but it also has elements that make it cool. So I really like Giga Impact. I think it definitely deserves a high place on the animation tier list. Coming at number 3, we have Waterfall. Now, Waterfall is absolutely one of my favorite animations in the game. It's so pretty. I know that like as someone who's played Pokemon for a while, Waterfall is an animation that doesn't always like, it wasn't always cool. In fact, it's an animation that I have always thought has been a little bit lackluster. Traditionally in past generations, it was just like some water on the opponent effectively. And a move like Surf in Generation 3, for example, was always way cooler than Waterfall, which was always a little lackluster. Now, Waterfall is just beautiful in this game. The background changes, the Pokemon like swims up a waterfall into the opponent. It's just pretty. Like, overall, it honestly might be my favorite animation in the game. I don't know if I would say it's the best one, but I think it might be my favorite. Like, I always love seeing it. I never get tired of it, and it's just so, like, it's so cinematic. I don't have a better word for it than that, but I think it's, like, I think it's a really, really incredible animation. Coming in at number 2, we have Hyper Beam. Now, I put Hyper Beam really high on the list for the reason that Hyper Beam, at least as a child, as a kid playing Pokemon and kind of growing up before I learned about competitive, Hyper Beam kind of felt like this ultimate attack, right? It was so strong you had to recharge after using it. It has 150 base power. It's a normal type move, and it just sounds and like feels very epic. Like it feels like the strong move as someone playing Pokemon. And although I haven't had like major gripes with Hyper Beam's animation in the past, I definitely would say that its past animations really pale in comparison to the current one. I love Hyper Beam's animation in Sword and Shield. It really gets across this epic feeling when you use it. Like the first time I saw it, I was just blown away because it just feels like how it's supposed to feel. Like when it feels epic. It feels powerful. It feels like it should hurt to get hit by it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, depending on who's using it and who's receiving it. But it's just a brilliant animation, and I think they did such a good job of capturing that feeling of being a child and using Hyper Beam, and I don't know, I just imagine if I was a kid playing Sword and Shield now, and using that move, like I just imagine it would feel so cool. I mean, even as an adult, using Hyper Beam, I feel a little bit cool, I'm not gonna lie. So I love Hyper Beam. I think it's one of the best animations in the game. Before we jump into number 1, I'm gonna give some honorable mentions. Poltergeist, a new move introduced in the Isle of Armor DLC. I like it a lot. You can see it on your screen here. Didn't make the cut. Rockricker was really close for me. I like Rockricker a lot. I get major Naruto vibes from this. The user like basically gathers this gigantic rock and hurls it at the opponent. I didn't like it as much as the things in the list, but it was something I was considering. Sky Attack, also a really cool animation. It's similar to its past iterations, but better done in my opinion. It really captures this feeling of momentum for me. Like, I do like Sky Attack a lot. It might have even been it was probably number 12 or 13, because there's some I like more than it, but it just really feels like this big, powerful flying type attack, which I believe it's the strongest flying type attack in the game. So yeah, it does get that across pretty well. I like the animation a lot. Eternabeam has this nice cinematic when Eternatus uses it, where this big giant Gmax or Eternatus hand comes down from the clouds. I thought it was a little bit cheesy, kind of felt like a mainline story Pokemon game, but I know people like it, so I am including it here. Meteor Assault for Surfetch'd signature move. It's really cool. Surfetch'd it's a great animation. I felt like it was too similar to Retaliate, so I did not include it, but this is one of my favorite animations as well, personally. I think it's just really great. It's another move similar to Hyper Beam, where it just feels very epic. I guess I would classify Retaliate as that as well. And then probably my number 11 on the list. And honestly, like, I know people love Pyro Ball, which is why I included it, but I would honestly have put this on the list over Pyro Ball. Cinderace's other signature move, Court Change, is really, really nice. I don't even know exactly why I like it so much, but it just feels great to use. It feels very classy. I don't really know how to describe it other than that. Like, it's very chic. It's very smooth. I like the colors. I like the subtlety. I think it's a great animation personally, and one of my favorites. Now, we've built this up a lot. Our number 1 spot, what's it going to be? Is it going to be Tail Whip? Is it going to be Zacian turning around? No. Number 1 spot on the list goes to another signature move. Phalanx is the user of it, and the move is No Retreat. Now, when you call No Retreat, you can only use it once per game, I think, unless you can definitely cheese ways around it, but it's normally a 1 per game kind of move, because only Phalanx can use it, and the effect is that you can't use it if you have already used it. So it's a really unique move in that it's an Omni Boost. It raises all of your stats by 1 stage at the cost of you're not able to switch out after using it. It's a phenomenal move, but the animation is just incredible. It calls like this dark castle on like a stormy sea and zooms in on the Pokemon, and I just think it's an incredible animation. It's, again, very cinematic, right? It feels like something in a movie almost, where you could see it, and I just think it's a beautiful animation and so well done. And I don't know why, like, you would think that if they were gonna make like animation so beautiful, so pretty, that they would kind of try and give them to Pokemon or to moves that would be used a lot. But so it's funny to me that this signature move of a Pokemon that isn't especially good competitively is the one that gets the number 1 spot on this list. But yeah, that's our top 10 list. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything you disagree with, if there's anything I didn't mention. I did do my best here, but of course I'm not perfect, so I might have missed some things, and also it's all subjective as well. But if you like this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know if you want to see the worst animations in Sword and Shield, because I could absolutely do that as well. And yeah, I thought this is cool to do. So let me know what you all think of this, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.